Live from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. We're back. It is the winter/spring semester version of the Lock Haven University Coaches Show from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. A warm welcome to 2017, and to those of you watching on GoLHU.com, listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, and taking it in from Haywood's on the Green on this Tuesday evening. If you are listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, we are about 45 minutes away from Lock Haven University women's basketball as the only trip north on the PSAC schedule, Lock Haven at Mansfield. Jonathan Schwab starting off 2017, joined by Lock Haven University head wrestling coach Scott Moore. And Scott, right into it as 2017 underway for your program as well. And not a ton going on over the last month since we last spoke, but we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the December 29th Lock Haven Classic, your team winning the title. How did your group get it done?
Yeah, I mean, this was the biggest tournament that we've hosted from a college perspective, so it was good going in knowing that there's going to be good numbers, about 14 or 15 different teams there, and I think about the 6th year of the event, so just be able to go in there and have our guys compete in the Thomas Fieldhouse and get that great competition, but a little bit of a bonus having some champions, 4 champions on the day, and also bringing home the team title. So anytime you have a good performance, anytime you have guys win tournaments and bring home a team title, it's a great tournament. But, just coming back from break, it's always tough for our guys, weight management, conditioning stuff, just coming back from, being gone for 5 or 6 days and to perform like that. It kind of got the semester started for us in a positive way and got these guys excited. We debuted 2 different guys at different weight classes. Both had great performances, so it kind of started to get the momentum rolling for what should be a great second semester for the program.
You just referenced DJ Fellman at 133, Adam Mackey at 174. What convinced you that those guys could successfully make each move?
Well, you look at your team and you look at the guys you have in the room and in your program, and from a dual meet perspective, you got to try to get your 10 best guys on the mat. And at times there's, you have 2 guys at one weight, and that was kind of a situation there where DJ had made the finals of a few tournaments and was doing well at 141, but naturally we needed him at 133. It was just a better fit for the team and an opportunity for him to get in the lineup. He came out, made weight for the first time, won the tournament, hands down outstanding wrestler. But just exciting for us to see him compete the way he did, making weight the first time. Adam Mackey, same situation, was light for 184. We had him wrestle up at as high as 197, but we just saw a need for him to be in a weight class where he could compete. He's a big move guy. He's a senior. So just getting him in there to battle, obviously, battle for the starting spot with Tyler Wood, but we really feel like those guys in those positions help secure a stronger dual meet team and also a stronger team to push for an EWL title.
You moved on the first real action of the 2017 calendar, the F&M Open. 2 champions there. Kyle Shoup at 149, Tristan Sponseller at 197. What did each of those guys do especially well?
Yeah, Kyle Shoup, I mean, he's had a great year for a freshman. I think he's one of the guys that has most improved in our program. And he came in, went 5-0. First round, he wrestled a tough opponent from Brown and pulled out a win. Got a takedown, which is one of his weaknesses, is scoring on takedowns. And came out, got a takedown to win the match, and just rolled through the rest of the tournament. It was impressive. Semifinals, wrestled a guy from Maryland who's just won the Millersville Open, so strong opponent, really explosive, but came out and got a tech fall against him, and in the finals wrestled a tough opponent. And, just dominating performance, but he is a top wrestler. He knows the position he wants to get into, and anytime you have a freshman that can understand their skill set and can put it to play is exciting. And Sponseller, same thing, just kind of like the silent goal all day, winning matches, being consistent, workman-like, winning the finals. Just another great day for him and another tournament title. He's was one of the champs at the Lock Haven Classic as well. Champion at the Matttown Open. So he's been doing well and developing as a sophomore and just really starting to hit his own during the second semester.
Joined by Lock Haven University head wrestling coach Scott Moore on the LHU Coaches Show live every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. until 7:30 at Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. If you're listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, nearing Lock Haven basketball. Doubleheader, women at 5:30, men at 7:30 at Mansfield. Scott, you mentioned it's a challenge, the semester break, because during the semester, guys get into a rhythm of managing their time with classes, with athletics. How do you advise them to manage their time over the course of the semester break?
Well, I mean, we have a lot more structure and a lot more time to train, so it's kind of it's a positive, obviously, that we can be with them more, and their focus is directly based on getting better technically, getting stronger, getting more time to spend with their teammates. So it's something that we really feel like is great time to achieve, and for our guys to sort of find their passion again over the break. And but it's also a time where we're training harder. They're away from home. There's not a lot going on in Lock Haven, so it can also be something where we have to pay extra attention to those guys, especially the freshmen that are away from home for the first Christmas break. And but I think the guys did a good job this summer, or this Christmas break, just getting together, going bowling, spending times playing games, and just trying to bond and connect as teammates. And having a couple road trips throughout helped. I mean, going down to Virginia Duels and going to Franklin and Marshall, having a team dinner, little stuff like that, I think help brings the team together. And so we're at the near end of the Christmas break, and everybody's healthy, everybody's staying positive, and we're excited to see what we can accomplish here in the next couple of weeks. If
your memory holds up here, who's the best bowler on your team?
I believe Jared Sechrist or Trey Hardsock. I think they were right around 200, which is pretty solid.
That is rock solid. We'll talk a little more wrestling with Scott Moore when we come back. This is the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the... Welcome back to Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. We're here every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. until 7:30. This is the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. I'm Jonathan Schwab with Lock Haven head wrestling coach Scott Moore. And Scott, we talked about everything leading up to this past weekend during the previous segment. Let's talk about the Virginia Duels. Your team goes 2-2. What did you like about your team's performance down in Virginia?
Yeah, it was a great event. I mean, they do a good job every year. It's it's been going on for probably 30 years, so it's kind of that intimate environment. You have 4 or 5 mats with high school teams, 4 mats with college teams, and just a lot of great wrestling, a lot of good teams. And so I thought we did well going 2-2. Obviously, going into the weekend without one of our better wrestlers, and Ronnie Perry suffered a concussion at Franklin and Marshall. So, going in just with the perspective of trying to wrestle different teams in which we had the opportunity to, just seeing where our lineup went. We had a lot of different guys in there with DJ and Adam Mackey, and then John Ross making his first dual meet entrance at 157. So just really a learning experience and an opportunity to wrestle a couple top 20 programs, and just another time to really break down our positives, our negatives, and stuff that we need to work on. And coming away with some wins and some hard-fought losses, we looked at as a positive.
Something that really stood out to me in reading about the weekend down in Virginia, you talked about not having Ronnie Perry. In the Tennessee-Chattanooga match, Thomas Haynes wrestling a really strong kid from UTC, unable to come up with the win. But you defeat UTC 19-18 in a match where you don't get any points from Perry or Haynes. What does that say about the way your coaching staff is developing some of these young guys?
Yeah, that was an interesting duel. Going in, we knew it was going to come down to one match, and what I was happy about was the push in the middleweights, freshman at 149, freshman at 57, freshman at 65. Those 3 guys all came out in hard-fought, tough wins for the program. That was exciting for me. That basically got us back into the match, and that's something where we can be excited about the future with having young guys winning matches in crucial times. And then Adam Mackey going out and getting a fall. That's kind of why he's at that weight for us right now. He's a pinner. He's a gamer. He loves that situation. And then, Sponseller getting the win. I guess sealing the deal, but even going in the heavyweight, we knew that Thomas Haynes could win the match, but we also knew that UTC's, I think Jared Johnson was very dangerous on top. So, Thomas protected himself a little bit. Could have really won the match, but did what we needed to do to win the dual meet, and I think next time they match up, I think he can win that match and more for himself. But in this situation, like you said, winning the duel without our 2 best kids technically on paper is something that we're excited about. It's something that we couldn't do in the past. In years past, we always in matches, always close, but when our best guys lost, we lost the duel, So Definitely a positive for us, and definitely gives us momentum and builds the confidence of those younger guys. And guys like Kyle Shoup, John Ross, Jared Sechrist, I mean, those guys are just showing a lot of maturity at that young age, and hopefully they can continue to develop and be a strong part of our program.
So now you come into a very challenging stretch of schedule, starting this weekend, 4 matches in 4 different locations over 7 days. How do you mentally and physically prepare your kids for that?
Yeah, it's this is a crunch time for us. Really, we don't have a whole lot going on in February. We have a lot of recovery time, so we put 6 dual meets together in 3 weeks. Technically 10 in 4 weeks with the 4 from this weekend, and not easy teams either. With Penn and Cornell, both top 25 programs, both a lot of nationally ranked competitors. So we had a really hard practice today. We started off the week hard, wrestling, lifting, and then we sort of taper in, just like any good program will. We'll taper in, do a lot of match strategy, and just try to keep our guys fresh, keep them positive, keep them healthy, and then go in there with the expectation that we're going to be wrestling good teams. You got to go out, make things happen, and try to create upsets and just continue to put together, the stuff that we've been working on. And, we're excited about competing this weekend at the Palestra and also at Cornell, which is a standalone wrestling facility. So putting our guys in good facilities in front of good competition, I think is only going to make us stronger.
Joined by Lock Haven head wrestling coach Scott Moore on the LHU Coaches Show, live from Haywood's on the Green restaurant in Mill Hall. Scott, what should fans know specifically about each opponent, Penn and Cornell?
Yeah, Penn's coming off a good win this weekend. They beat number 15 Stanford, but dangerous in a lot of the weights. A lot of great athletes. 3 or 4 kids that are top 25 ranked kids. Real solid in the upper weights. 65, 74, 97. Some of their better kids. 1 returning All-American, but definitely a few other guys that have that potential. So I think that's going to be a real close duel. It's going to come down to, the lighter weights, 25, 33, 41, 49. I mean, just like every match does, but it's really going to depend on those guys getting the match started, getting some momentum, building the confidence, and then just finishing strong. With Hazel, Sponseller, and Haynes have been pretty productive for us this year. So leaving the match up to heavyweight, hopefully, I feel good about that. We go down to heavyweight. I think we win the duel. Cornell's been all over the place this year, top 10 program ranking-wise, a lot of solid individuals, but been real shifty with their weights. They've been moving guys around. Guys have been trouble making weight, been hurt, so same situation. Definitely a little bit tougher duel, but something that we look forward to and wrestling a lot of ranked opponents, a lot of guys that are going to test us and prepare us for the end of the year, which hopefully will be a strong EWL finish and a strong national presence in St. Louis.
Our one for fun to kick off 2017 with Scott Moore. Scott, we are in the dead of winter. So what is your favorite weather season?
Oh, I like winter, but I like when there's a lot of snow. I mean, if we're in the winter time, we need like 2 feet out there. So there's, you can go around and, playing outside, sled riding, just taking the truck off-road, whatever it is to have some fun. And right now it's cold, but there's no snow, so it's not that enjoyable.
So you've got the truck, so you're equipped for whatever happens.
Yeah, I like to take some risks.
Lock Haven University head wrestling coach Scott Moore, thank you for the time, and good luck in both duels this weekend.
Thank you very much.
When we come back on the LHU Coaches Show, we will be joined by Lock Haven University head men's basketball coach Mike Nestor. You're listening to the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. Welcome back to Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. We're here every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. until 7:30. This is the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. Jonathan Schwab, excited to be joined right now by somebody who's so excited to be a part of this segment. I'm telling you, folks, he had a jacket on earlier. Jacket's off. He's ready to rock. Lock Haven University head men's basketball coach Mike Nestor, great to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Mike, such a young team for you this year, and that's been the recurring theme all season long. We're past the halfway point, so it's a good time to check in with you and ask, what's it been like coaching such a young group?
It's refreshing. It's refreshing in a few ways. I mean, they're a little bit immature at times, just in their day-to-day business. But overall, they're a blank canvas, ready to learn. They work very hard. low maintenance in terms of their attitude, and they get along very well. I think just, when you have that many guys living in a dorm even, they tend to just – they're together all the time. So it's an enjoyable thing to see. It's fun to watch. There's no cliques right now. And I hope we can keep it that way for, a couple years to come.
With a program where, I believe it's 12, 13 kids, and so how critical is that everybody on the team has that togetherness, because it can come apart so easily?
Yeah, it's a big deal, and for us over the years, we've had a good group of guys, and what happens is when you have certain guys here for 3, 4, 5 years, they just become different in their routines, and things aren't as fresh or as new here at Lock Haven as it was when they walked in the door. So to have 8 or 9 guys that are brand new, and they're all learning this experience, living this experience pretty much together, and they're with each other so much, and just over the winter break, being in the dorms together so much, they're going through the same thing, so they kind of understand each other, and they're just they're a fun group, they're a pleasant group, they're a happy group, and it makes just life very, very fun right now.
Now I have to ask you, since we're on this topic, we already covered it with Scott Moore. His team went bowling during the semester break. I know your team went bowling before the season. Who's the best bowler on your team?
That's a tough one. Khalid Campbell, he's probably one of the best bowlers we had. James Williams was a good bowler. He's redshirting for us this year. So those 2 guys were good. They stayed focused for about a half hour, and then it was just, a little bit of insanity going out there trying to throw as many down as you could. So, it was a fun night, though. It was one of those times where they just got to enjoy themselves outside of the basketball and just to be together and, relax. It was a good experience.
Between the lines, where have you seen the most growth with this group?
We're still learning some things in terms of each other, and our style of play has been, pretty solid. What we want is tempo, but they're just starting to learn each other's tendencies and where people like the ball or what they're looking for offensively and what we can feed off of. I still want to see a little bit of improvement on communication, positive communication, body language communication. And just communication during a game. But with a young, immature, new group, that takes some time. That's a lot of veteran leadership, which we do have good veteran leadership, but we need some more vocal leadership, and just talk to each other, in a positive atmosphere, positive attitude, and I think we're starting to get that.
Mike, you talk about starting to see those things. How often within 5 to 10 minute stretches during games do you see these kids playing to their potential and find yourself thinking, wow, this could end up being really special down the line?
Yeah, they play fast and they play with each other in terms of moving the ball and not trying to do too much and just kind of play without thinking. It's really enjoyable, and they get going in a great flow. And that's the fun part of it. When they start to think a little bit too much or worry about missing a shot or missing a play, that's when their head gets in the way. And, for me, I've never been somebody that really wants to coach that way. I want them to be free and loose and enjoy what they're doing. And it shows when they're having fun and the bench is excited and everybody's in the game. So that's what we're going to keep trying to kind of push that style, and hopefully it'll pay dividends in the end.
3 guys I want to talk with you about specifically. Let's start with Amir Hinton. You told me at the beginning of the year that with his capabilities, one of the things he would have to deal with is being that guy the other team puts the bullseye on and has targeted all night as the guy at the top of the scouting report. How is he evolving in dealing with that?
It's really, if just talking to other coaches, because we get to see something every day, I think the people that we play against and the coaches that I've talked to are most impressed with. It really hasn't had any effect on him in terms of people know that he's going to get played a different way. And Shippensburg, just, we played those guys last weekend, number 7 in the country now. And defensively, he's so strong. I said if he comes out of there and shoots above 50%, scores around 20, and has a solid game, then he can be a very special player. And, he goes 18 and 12 rebounds, shoots above 50%. So, he's got the ability to do so many things on the basketball court. And now it's just the maturity aspect of it. It has nothing to do with scoring points, rebounding, defending. He does all that very, very high-level play. We just have to continue to focus him on his composure, his body language, his communication, like we talk about. And that comes with maturity when you've been through it more than a year. And, he's at times his play is so high that it's hard for him to take a step back and realize what he's doing. So he's getting better at it, and we believe that he's one of the best skilled players in the league already. So he can just get better from here.
Another one of your freshmen you have starting, Jihad Barnes. Now, you were a point guard back in the day. Not that far back in the day, but back in the day a little bit. And you've talked about how that's such a critical position to you. And because Jihad shares a class with Amir, who gets more of the headlines, not as much spotlight for Jihad Barnes, but I know that position's so important to you. How has he handled, in your eyes, being a freshman point guard starting for you?
He's been great. I mean, the biggest thing I think last year we talked about in practice why he redshirted was, his composure mentally, his head staying in the game, not getting frustrated, not getting a hot head or short fuse, just staying calm and composed and keeping your demeanor at the same level. I think that's so important for a point guard, and then you put a freshman into the mix, and it's, gaining the respect of the guys, not getting excited or too upset when something happens. And really, I mean, I look at him, and every now and then I just point to my head, and he's right back in the mix. So he's had a really good freshman year so far. I think he can just continue to get better. And to have those two playing together so much is just a really fun, enjoyable thing to watch, and I think that's going to be an exciting group to see for the years to come.
The one other guy I need to ask you about, one of the upperclassmen, Raiz Hunt. When he arrived mid-season on that team that went 17-10, and he was a guy who had a lot development-wise still to learn and to grow. Why has he progressed to become the player and off-court influence he has for your program?
He's matured as much as most anybody we've ever had here. There's a few guys that come to mind, like Kashif Festus or Armandi Marshall, my first year, that really grew up and became very mature students. And he's getting up there into that world. He's got a great demeanor. He's got a great attitude. He's very positive. He comes to practice. He works hard. He worked very hard this summer in terms of keeping his weight, and his conditioning at the right level. Offensively, he's very, very skilled, always was, just didn't get a ton of opportunity here until this year. Just got to continue to focus on, a few of the other things for him, rebounding, defensive side of the ball. But he is one of those guys that people follow, they listen to. He's just matured a lot over the last year and a half for our program, and to know we're going to have him for another year and a half is pretty exciting. I just think he can continue to get better and, put a couple other pieces near him, and he'll be even more difficult to deal with on the offensive side of the ball.
Joined by Lock Haven head men's basketball coach Mike Nestor on the LHU Coaches Show, live from Haywood's on the Green. Mike, right in the muddled middle, your group in the PSAC East, how do you look at where things are as you come down to the final month plus of the regular season?
The goal for me right now with this group is pretty simple. We play Mansfield. That's the priority. I'm hoping we can find ways to get some wins against these teams in the next couple of weeks that I don't have to look at who's playing who, where they're playing them, what we need to have happen for us. The biggest concern is staying focused with the young group, having them come to practice and staying focused for the 90 minutes to 2-hour session that we have, and really kind of taking what our game plan is and putting it into effect during the game. If we can do that, get a couple wins here, and kind of put ourselves in a position to just go play and not have to worry about this is a must win or we need this team to win. I like our chances. The league is as level as it's been since I've been in the league in terms of just how many teams are so compatible and can really play with each other. So it's exciting to have. It's a little nerve-wracking at times, obviously, and we just feel that we have some guys that can do some special things here, and if we play together as a group and they just work hard and have high energy, then I like our chances.
Our one for fun with Mike Nestor. Mike, last Wednesday at Cheney, one of the more bizarre moments that I've ever seen as a broadcaster. You were given a free throw late in the first half because Cheney's clock did not have tenths on it. So where does that rank in the pantheon of bizarre moments you've experienced as a head coach?
That's definitely up there because I would say Cheney has never had a tenth of a second on that clock, and I never remember our team ever getting a technical, and I guarantee most teams never have before. So when they kind of brought it to the table, I just said, all right, we get it. There's no tenths, no big deal. We just take the referee's, thought and go with it. And he said, no, that's a technical. And I was kind of floored. I didn't expect it, didn't think of it. And, honestly, I wouldn't have even have thought about taking it until they put one of our guys up there and they said, let's see if we can get an extra point and go with it.
Lock Haven University head men's basketball coach Mike Nestor, thank you for the time and best of luck as you head into a critical portion of your schedule.
Thank you very much.
That'll do it for this week's edition of the Lock Haven University Coaches Show. Thanks to Mike Nestor and Scott Moore for joining us. Thank you for coming to Haywood's on the Green on this Tuesday night. We will be here every Tuesday from 7 p.m. until 7:30 if you're listening on the Bear Country Sports Network. We are getting close to Lock Haven University women's basketball and an LHU basketball doubleheader. Lock Haven at Mansfield, pregame 5:15 for the women's game, 5:30 tip, men's game at 7:30. We will have it for you on the Bear Country Sports Network. Once again, this has been the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network.